Hi there. My name is Mike Ringle, and I am President and CEO of Special Needs Wealth Planning. Today, I would like to share with you some of the costly mistakes to avoid when planning for a loved one with special needs. There are 10 costly mistakes, and we're going to go through each one of them individually. So, the first mistake, and the most important mistake that most people make, is doing nothing. The most popular estate plan in the United States is to do nothing. And while some of you are extremely overwhelmed with what's going on in your day to day lives, doing nothing is a strategy. And it could have devastating outcome for you and your family. The last thing you want to have happen is money going to your child or adult child with special needs. This could create the wrong person being named to manage their affairs. But more importantly, we talked about in the webinars is that any money that goes to your child with special needs, if it's more than $2,000, could disqualify them from receiving government benefits. That means that if money goes to them, then they're going to either have to spend it down until they have $2,000 in their name, or somebody is going to have to create what we call a payback first party special needs trust. There are significant amount of cons that go along with that versus the pros. So what we implore you to do is to take action. And we're going to share with you in a little bit what that action might be. The second thing you want to avoid is actually disinheriting them. What I mean by that is leaving money to somebody else with the hope that they're going to use that money on your child's needs. Now, the good part about that, or the positive part, is that there would be no money left in your child's name, and then they would be qualified to receive whatever government benefits they're entitled to receive. The biggest problem with that is when you leave something to somebody else, that there are a tremendous amount of financial threats that could go along with that. Public benefits rarely provide more than welfare level of care. I experienced this personally with my grandfather, who didn't do any planning whatsoever. And at a late age in life, he got Parkinson's disease. He had to spend down all of the money in his name until he had $2,000 left. And then Medicaid picked up care. And I know that it's not the standard of care that he would have wanted for himself or my parents would have wanted for him. While disinheriting is a strategy, it's not the best one out there. And assuming other people are going to take care of your loved one falls in line with disinheriting them. Because if money flows to them, what's going to happen is that the money is going to be in their financial world. And it's going to be subject to predators, creditors, financial threats like divorce, lawsuits, gambling, drugs. What if they pass away? Well, that money could be invaded by their current family, and you're hoping that they're going to take care of your child financially may or may not come to fruition. So number one is we want to make sure that we do something, right? And secondly is we want to make sure that we definitely don't disinherit them. Myth number 4, or mistake number 4, is using a one-size-fit-all special needs trust. So one of the easy things to do is just to go online and create the special needs trust yourself, or use the wrong attorney to create the trust. The last thing you want to do is go to the attorney who closed on your house or your business attorney, not a specialist, but a generalist who is just going to put some language in the wills to create the special needs trust for you. And some special needs trusts are unnecessarily inflexible and generic. We want to be able to make the trust flexible. Therefore, most people prefer a revocable trust to retain their right to improve or change the trust over the years. A lot of things can happen between now and the time you pass away, and you want to make sure that the language in the trust allows you to make changes between now and the time that you pass away. Mistake number 5 is failing to plan for more than public benefits, right? So the whole goal, and when I've surveyed hundreds of families, is the main goal out of families is to protect the public benefits for their child with special needs. While preparing for public benefits is important, it shouldn't be the only goal. The special needs trust should be designed to enhance your loved one's quality of life in all aspects. The more preferred way of financial planning and estate planning is the creation of what we call a third party special needs trust. That means that money flows into a special needs trust and is protected so that your child is not disqualified from receiving government benefits. And special needs planning is not just about the document. The legal document that you create is only as powerful as the financial planning behind it. So you really want to work with financial and estate planning experts who specifically focus on taking your family's financial and estate planning consideration and make sure that the estate plan also coordinates with the financial plan. Mistake number 6 is not using a professional who focuses on special needs planning. There are financial planners out there like myself and our team who for the last 20 years have been working with families just like yours to be able to understand the family dynamic, get a good understanding of what the outcomes that you're looking to achieve with your planning, and coordinate with an attorney who specializes in special needs planning in your state. Every state has different laws that you need to take in consideration. Every state has different benefits that may or may not be available to your child. So you want to make sure that you work with a specialist in both of these areas. Number 7 is you want to include others in the planning. So a key benefit to the special needs trust is that if it's a standalone trust, it could take effect immediately. And then you may want to coordinate with other family members who wish to leave money through their wills to your loved one with special needs. You want to be able to coordinate that in such a way that the planning that they do doesn't disinherit your child or disqualify them from receiving the benefits that they would want to leave them. Mistake number 8 is choosing the wrong management team. So during your lifetime, you can manage a special needs trust. In fact, in the planning that we offer, we advise clients to create the trust, but not fund it now. Most of the families that we work with, the parents are going to be able to supplement their child's expenses and lifestyle during their lifetime. It's typically only upon the passing of the parents that we want to have the special needs trust created. That's why some families choose to have the trust created through language in their wills. Others like to have a standalone special needs trust. This way, they can communicate with other family members who want to leave money to their children, especially their neurotypical children and their children with disabilities. You want to be able to communicate that so if the trust is already freestanding, that the parents or grandparents or aunt and uncle can name the special needs trust as a beneficiary in their estate planning. You really want to focus on creating a team, right? It's a lot of responsibility to have one person, even a family member, be the trustee of the special needs trust. You may want to consider a professional, whether it's a professional trustee, a bank, a financial advisor, to serve as the professional trustee. There's a lot of responsibility and a lot of work to manage the trust. You can have family members serve as part of the trust advisory committee or as a trust protector. You really want to make sure you pick the right person, because if the wrong person is put in charge, the entire plan could fall apart. That's why we need to have a trustee, a backup trustee, maybe even a second backup trustee. Choosing the wrong management team could have devastating impact for your family. Failing to protect your loved one from predators and creditors. All too often, loved ones with special needs fall victim to predators. So We're all susceptible to financial scams. And if you think about it, how susceptible are your children or your child? And predators are particularly attracted to the vulnerable. And the last thing we want to do is fund a special needs trust or give money outright to your child only to have them lose it to creditors and predators. So, with a properly designed special needs trust, you limit access to information about your loved one and, more importantly, about their money. And number 10, and I think the most important, is failure to properly fund and maintain the plan. A special needs plan, which could include a special needs trust, must have assets to make the plan work. And there are a lot of different ways to fund the special needs trust. As I mentioned, we believe in funding it later in life. And one of the most efficient and effective ways to do that is by adding life insurance to your financial world to be able to eventually fund the trust, naming the trust as a beneficiary. And there are different types of life insurance that you could use. There's term insurance, which requires the least amount of cash flow. You pay an insurance company a certain amount of money for a specific amount of time, and then it ends. The challenge or problem with that is that it has a specific term, and it does end. And in our case, and in your case, we want to make sure that the death benefit that will eventually fund the special needs trust is going to pay someday in the future. It has to. You're planning for 2 lifetimes. So it needs to be, or a portion of your life insurance should be what we call permanent life insurance. Permanent meaning it's going to last forever. And it will pay, if properly designed, when you're 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. And finally, the plan should be reviewed on a regular basis to make sure that it continues to meet not only your needs, your loved one's needs, but also any changes in law or any changes in benefits that you may need to take in consideration. As you can tell, there are a lot of things to think about when it comes to planning for your loved one. A lot of times it can seem overwhelming. When we talk to families, the most important thing they say is that we really want to focus on creating a plan to protect the benefits that are going to be or are currently available for their child, and to be able to provide supplemental money sometime in the future. So with that, I will invite you to either schedule a time with us to have a conversation about you and your family, find out where you are and what you're currently doing, and make sure that you're not making, and make sure that, more importantly, that you avoid the top 10 mistakes that we talked about today. And so thank you very much for your time.